the infamous Hank Palmer.
The jaded lawyer with no respect for the law.
Hey!
Did that just happen?
How does it feel knowing every person you represent is guilty?
It's fine. Innocent people can't afford me.
All rise. Is there anything either counsel care to add?
My mom passed away this morning.
Is this the first time your mother passed away, or is this something you do on all the cases you're about to lose?
First time.
So, Grandpa Palmer's dead too?
No, Grandpa Palmer's dead to me. It's like a figure of speech.
Sounds complicated. I should go with you.
Trust me, nobody wants to go to Carlinville, Indiana.
Built these walls of stone.
God, here we go.
And they crumble back today.
We can barely stand the sight of each other.
Henry?
Judge?
Hank, thanks for coming. I'm sure your mother would have appreciated it.
Hank Palmer.
Hank, Sheriff White. It's regarding your father.
Biggest mistake of your career and you just happened to run him over?
Forensics found traces of blood on your dad's car.
I sat on the bench in that courtroom for 42 years.
This was an accident, period.
We need to establish a firm defense.
There's no we here, Henry. I wish I liked you more.
I can't stay.
You're a lawyer, he is your father. You leave now, you will regret it.
You're a shined-up wooden nickel, Mr. Palmer. I'm going to impale your client on a first-degree murder charge, and you get a front-row seat.
My father's a lot of unpleasant things, and murder is not one of them. I have memories of us. Then I don't. Why?
Was I tough on you? Yes. I did what I thought was right.
My experience, Hank, sometimes you gotta forgive in order to be forgiven.
You and I are finally done.
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, this movie looks much better than expected. Bravo, Robert Downey Jr. I apologize for assuming this was going to be another due date. I think many of us haven't been so pleased with the way Downey Jr. has been spending his time outside of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and kind of wondering why he's continuing to pursue that path when it's been going so poorly. But this looks like he might have a bright spot. Now, of course, he's very heavily involved in this film behind the camera as well with his wife, Susan Downey. And you know what? I think they might have a good bet here. Now, the only thing that bothers me about this trailer, and I'll get this out of the way first, is that I don't like the casting of Robert Duvall. Now, I understand that there are only so many older actors available, but Robert Duvall looks nothing like Robert Downey Jr. They don't even have similar personalities. I don't understand how one could be related to the other. So unless Downey Jr.'s character is supposed to be adopted, that casting is going to go a long way towards keeping me from getting really into the film. Because as I watch it, I'm like, really? There was no one else? You couldn't dig up Gene Hackman out of retirement? What about Bill Murray? There are so many people who would be a better father to Robert Downey Jr. than Robert Duvall. But I guess this is who they have. So I'm just going to have to try and work past it. But speaking of casting, Billy Bob Thornton. I am such a big Billy Bob Thornton fan again now after Fargo. He just won a Critics' Choice Award for his acting in that miniseries. He's so good in it. It just reminds you why Billy Bob Thornton was originally awesome from Sling Blade. And then, of course, he took a lot of projects, I think, for paychecks, and like slowly faded away into obscurity. But he's back. He looks great, and I can't wait to see him go up against Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. Very good casting. So I'm very excited about that. Vera Farmiga here, though, come on. I mean, that's so cliche. Oh, the girl in the town who tells the guy, she calls him on his, his crap, and he's like, oh, at first you're annoying me, but thank you for calling me on my crap. Somebody needed to do it, and thank goodness it was the girl in the town I left behind. I mean, we've seen this so many times before, and let me tell you, Hollywood, that character isn't likable. Nobody likes that woman, and nobody understands why the guy always falls in love with her. Maybe there are some of you who do like that, that plot development, but I've always hated it, and I'm a little disappointed to see it here. But Vera Farmiga, also, she played the same exact role in Up in the Air, so it's like, come on. But anyway, what really struck me about this movie, besides the Downey Jr. Thornton matchup, and I think the human drama looks very compelling, great cinematography. But what really sold me on it was the beginning of the trailer, and that's when he comes back to his hometown. And I loved the idea that even someone who was so successful and had so much self-confidence, the idea that returning home could undercut them emotionally so much. I think we've all been there, where we're feeling pretty good. We're like, you know what, I've changed. I own who I've become as a person. And then something from your childhood, your teenage years, where, an insecurity rears its head again, just something pops up and you lose it for a second and you go right back to where you were. And it's so disappointing. You're like, I am supposed to have come further than this. And I think that's such a strong emotion that Hollywood really hasn't explored that much, that I think it's great to see it on display here. And just him sighing in that car alone as he looks around the town that he never really fit into, and that has continued on, and he just can anticipate how he's going to be treated and going back to that same place that he worked so hard to get out of. Just that sigh alone spoke volumes, and it took me right back to my own memories and my, I think, unfortunate incidences as well, and I think so many of us have that. So that's what sold me on this movie, and if it can really explore that, I'm very excited to see the results. And maybe this will be an awards contender. It seems a little bit mainstream, a little bit not Oscar baity enough, but we'll see. But I'm curious, what do you think of this trailer? Is it better than you had anticipated? Does the casting of Robert Duvall bother you? And what do you think of this emotion I'm referencing? Does that appeal to you in this movie? Or were you like, I don't know what you're talking about, Grace. I was super popular, everyone loved me, and every time I go home they throw a parade. All right, so thank you so much for tuning into my review of The Judge, and you can check out some more episodes right now.